Hello everybody, Jake, your resident content cowboy here, Yeehaw, and I'm here to tell you about the 5 best Pokemon in Unite and the 5 worst Pokemon in Unite right now. And if you put those numbers together, it's 0. Does that work? For help with this, I'm taking us over here to uniteapi.dev. This is a website that tells us pick rates and win rates of Pokemon. I'm not only going to base this on win rates, but I'm going to base a lot of this on win rates and pick rates and what I believe is happening inside the game right now. My number 5 best Pokemon in the game right now might shock you. It is Eldegoss. I actually think Eldegoss is doing shockingly well right now. That's why it might shock you. Jake, that's why it might shock you. If you take a look at the win rate for this Pokemon, Cotton Spore seems to still not really be doing it, but Cotton Guard with either Leaf Tornado or Pollen Puff are crushing it right now. I actually think Pollen Puff and Cotton Guard are a new exciting way to play this Pokemon. You're doing a ton of damage, but you're also healing and shielding your allies a lot. It really does feel like Eldegoss is kind of back with this build. My number 4 choice is Tyranitar. While this Pokemon doesn't have the highest win rate in the game, there are Pokemon with a better win rate, and we will get to them. I do think that Tyranitar is just kind of insane inside this game right now. The way Pokemon Unite is dealing with the final fight in this game means that a Pokemon that crushes everything in the final fight of this game just has so much value. If you know how to play either the Ancient Power or Sand Tomb build, you're a positive win rate Pokemon, and I actually think in the right hands you're much better than that. Number 3, Mew. We don't really need to say a ton about Mew. We know what's going on with Mew. Everything Mew does is insane. You can't KO it. It starts with Solar Beam. Like, Mew is Mew. It's Mew. I don't know what else to tell you. Hopefully, honestly, hopefully they nerf this Pokemon pretty hard coming up here because it is truly absurd. In some ways, you could say it's the best Pokemon in the game. I mean, it's Mew. I don't know what to tell you. Just come on. Number 2, Dodrio. Dodrio, I don't know if playing solo mini Pokemon even come close to this. It's so unbelievably good with Tri-Attack and Agility. Right now its win rate is 54%. It might be one of the highest in the entire game. And again, you can play this Pokemon by itself. It's just unbelievable, and I'm so happy that I found this Pokemon, and I love playing it so much because it truly is a menace inside games. I still think moves like Drill Peck are taking some time to kind of become more reasonable and better. I think Jump Kick is actually pretty good, but currently Agility and Tri-Attack. I do think this Pokemon is probably going to receive a nerf pretty soon. I don't think it's shocking to say that Mr. Mime, of course, is our number 1 Pokemon right now. It's tanky, it does damage, its Unite move is insane. Mr. Mime is without question one of, if not the best Pokemon in the game in any situation that you put it in. I think this Pokemon is also heading for some nerfs pretty soon, but if you want to play the best Pokemon in the game, this is it. Either Confusion Barrier or Confusion Power Swap. I think Confusion Power Swap is a little stronger right now. It also has a slightly better win rate, but both of these are extremely good. Even the recently nerfed Psychic Power Swap still has over a 50% win rate. Mime is that incredibly good, and everyone's picking it. It's Mime. A few honorable mentions. Venusaur. Venusaur is incredible right now. I think its win rate doesn't even match up to how good it actually is. Lots of people are picking this Pokemon, which I think is maybe hurting it a little bit here. Giga Drain Petal Dance Venusaur is absolutely insane. Another Pokemon that's very good is Charizard. Charizard doesn't get enough love. It actually is a great Pokemon. Its Unite move is one of the best in the game. And another Pokemon that's really killing it right now, honorable mention, is Duraludon. Duraludon might be receiving even more nerfs coming up here because I think a lot of people, as I've said many times, have been sleeping on this Pokemon. It's incredibly good. All right, let's talk about some of the worst ones right now. My favorite Pokemon, Squirtle. Blastoise is one of the toughest Pokemons in the game right now. Did I say Pokemons? Oh my gosh. I actually got in trouble on a live broadcast for saying Pokemons, and it's not that I think the plural of Pokemon is Pokemons, it's just that my mouth works faster than my brain, and my brain is very slow, so I said Pokemons. Anyway, One of the worst Pokemons in Pokemon's Unite right now, unfortunately, is Blastoise. Luckily, it looks like we're getting some buffs to this Pokemon very, very soon, but currently, Blastoise just feels kind of underwhelming in all respects. It's not the best tank, it doesn't do the most damage as sort of a DPS sort of tank Pokemon. It's just kind of across the board. Not terrible, and its Unite move is really, really good, but Blastoise definitely needs a little help. Number 4 is Zeraora. This Pokemon is a carry Pokemon, and given that it's a carry, you would expect its win rate to be a lot higher. Carry Pokemon compared to defenders or supporters usually have a higher win rate because you're able to take more of the match into your own hands so that you can win it. I still think Zeraora's leveling curve just doesn't make sense in this game right now. However, I also think if you were to knock all of its leveling down one level, very similar to what happened to Azumarill, I think this Pokemon could instantly become a meta choice. It's actually a good Pokemon, it just needs so much experience to finally do what it needs to do. In a really tough spot right now. I would love to see them change this Pokemon. I don't know if they're going to do it anytime soon. Number 3 for me is Gardevoir. This is a tough choice because the rest of the Pokemon at the bottom of this list all have issues. Gardevoir is actually maybe, you know what? Gardevoir is going to be number 2. My number 3 has been changed. It is Buzzwole. Here's what I think about Buzzwole. It is amazing. It is really good. And for some reason, it's just not winning the games. I think the Leech Life build is very fun, but the problem with the Leech Life build is the final fight. And I don't think this performs well in the final fight. Superpower does much better, but still I think something is missing here from Buzzwole to really put it over the top. Right now its win rate is pretty low and its pick rate is not incredible either. I think this Pokemon is actually a little better than its win rate shows, but it could still use some love to make it a real meta choice. Now onto Gardevoir, our number 2, but it honestly could be our number 1. Gardevoir in my eyes is just bad Delphox. It's just Delphox but bad. And the thing is, this Pokemon isn't tragic and you can't not win games with them. Don't get confused that anything I'm saying on here means you can't play these Pokemon and you can't win with them. That's not true at all. It's just it seems to be outclassed in almost every way inside this game. I can't wait to see what they do with this. Word is it might be getting stat and move changes, which could be huge for Gardevoir. It desperately needs it. It's just so far behind so many other Pokemon. It does pretty good damage, but it just doesn't do enough. And when you're comparing it to a Pokemon like Delphox that just seems to skate around the map with insane movement speed and output more damage and has a better Unite move, it's just bad Delphox. Finally, number 1, this might shock you, it's Clefable. Clefable has a tragic win rate, and I think the big issue with this Pokemon are its stats. Very, very soon, Clefable is getting a stat change. We've seen that the public test server has some changes for Clefable. There's no way they're nerfing this Pokemon. They're without question buffing this Pokemon, and I think we're going to see a resurgence of Clefable. It actually does a lot of things very, very well. It just happens to feel too squishy, and it doesn't last long enough in some of these bigger fights to really output the amount of healing that it needs to do to keep up with some other supports. It's actually fascinating because when this Pokemon first came out, I think it was played a little bit better and it had a better win rate, but consistently we have seen Clefable drop every single week, getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. So I think this Pokemon desperately needs some buffs to kind of come back into prominence, but once it gets them, watch out. I hope you found that interesting. I'm going to continue to break this down on a weekly basis just because I think it's pretty fun, taking a look at some of the highest win rates, lowest win rates, and kind of parsing out why that is what that is. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what you think is kind of crazy that its win rate is that low and kind of crazy that its win rate is that high. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I love you. Yeehaw to you and yours.